和国，宣扬人民真话，今天胜利了。
在60年代这个初期到中期这个时候呢，那么中国就喊出了反帝反修的口号，反帝反修的，那就是美国和苏联一起打了，就是我们把他们都看成是自己的敌人，那么同时呢要同他们展开进行斗争，那么所以就是1966年爆发的文化大革命就对外政策来看，那么当然是强调的就是这套革命的路线了。但是这样做呢，其实是有一个很大的问题，就是作为中国这样一个国家，同时要面对2个对手啊，那么这个压力还是很重的。
新中国成立以后，美国对我们中国一直采取敌对态度，遏制我们，孤立我们，反对我们，不承认我们，而且鼓励蒋介石反攻大陆，霸占台湾，所以我们2国之间呢一直没有来往。朝鲜战争以后，我们中国人民志愿军出兵抗美援朝以后，那么2国的关系更加紧张。
It was an odd relationship because basically there had been nothing since 1949. And so there were virtually no contacts. There was no trade, there was no tourism, there was no journalism, no diplomats, virtually no exchange between the People's Republic of China and the United States. And people living outside China knew very little about what was going on inside China.
But one can learn a lot about China by reading history books. And I went to some universities for seminars to educate myself. That was a little difficult because the professors always wanted to talk to me about current problems, and I wanted to talk to them about long-range problems.
And being someone with a strong sense of history, I think he tried to understand the history of China so that he would understand contemporary China, the China with which he was going to be dealing.
当时的另一个国际语境是，美苏之间军备竞赛愈演愈烈，前苏联的对外扩张意图也愈加明显。1968年8月20日深夜，前苏联悍然出动25万大军，一夜之间占领了捷克斯洛伐克全境。
Fundamentally, it's a U.S. fear of an expansionist Soviet Union that has posed a great threat to America. Therefore, America needs to work out an international movement, international alliance to counter the Soviet aggression. So Americans thought that now China has 2 enemies, U.S. and the Soviet Union. But at the same time, U.S. has had 2 enemies, Chinese communism and Soviet communism. And the Soviet Union has 2 enemies, America and China. So it's very interesting. These 3 major countries in the world has formed a kind of relationship that each would counter other 2 major actors in the world.
We had an obligation also to improve our relations with Moscow. But our relations to Beijing made it clear to Moscow that we would oppose any what we called hegemony, namely dominating the world.
他们去决定，就是说他们要打独救就打独救。
就是1969年5月份前后吧，那么毛泽东要求这个陈毅啊，他们这几个老帅，就说来一起去研究中国的对外政策。那么，他们最后得出一个结论了，实际上就是苏联同美国相比了，苏联是一个更加重要的威胁。那么，中国呢，应该把主要的这个斗争矛头，这个推准苏联。
而美国接触北京的动机，在很大程度上也是出于自身的国家利益。60年代末，尼克松上任时，美国正陷入越南战争中不能自拔。美国政府已逐渐意识到这是自己的巨大失误，但从中抽身又是何其之难。
The Quezon siege turns many Americans against the war. As the battle ends, a Gallup poll shows that 1 in 5 Americans switch from support to opposition.
For the United States, very near the top of their list, perhaps top of their list, was Vietnam. The Americans thought that the Chinese could put pressure on North Vietnam to be more conciliatory, to negotiate in good faith. And there had been negotiations going on between the United States and North Vietnam, and they'd really been going nowhere.
尽管中美政府之间22年来没有任何正式来往，但是沟通的渠道还是有的。
看到吧？可以从这个上面下来。
资深翻译家和外交官过家鼎，当年还是个将近而立之年的年轻议员，在1958年到1962年间，担任中美华沙大使级会谈的中方翻译，他见证了沟通的艰辛与曲折。
基辛格那时候多年轻，基辛格向他汇报，向尼克松汇报。中美大使级会谈最早是在日内瓦举行，1955年8月1号在日内瓦举行。那么到1958年呢，这个台湾海峡局势紧张了，那么中断以后的谈判又恢复了。恢复的时候呢，是在华沙。一直到华沙1970年2月结束，15年开了135次会议，除了达成一个遣返平民的协议以外，没有任何结果。主要原因就是美国要我们放弃对台湾使用武力。我们说这个是台湾问题是中国的内政，不可能，中国不可能承担不使用武力。
In 1969, he began the bombing of communist sanctuaries in Cambodia. And when the bombing proved ineffective, he also launched a ground assault over the Cambodian border.
1970年，中国因美国入侵柬埔寨取消了华沙会谈，双方也没有约定新的会谈时间。然而，一个小小的乒乓球却给美国人吃下了一个大大的定心丸。1971年春，美国乒乓球队意外地接到中国的访问邀请，又在人民大会堂得到周恩来很高规格的接见。这场乒乓外交被誉为“小球推动大球”。它改变了历史的进程。
When China still considered America is an imperialist country, we did not have an official relationship, but we made a friendship, and we reduced the American apprehension, Americans' hostility, and we won some American sympathy and support to China.
美国人主动把那个在华沙会谈的时候。通过一个翻译给我们传递信息，就是尼克松总统愿意跟中国谈那个更高层的问题，更高的政治问题，双边的问题，这已经来了一个信号了。然后我们接到这个信号，毛主席、周总理了解到以后，我们就接过来这个信号。
4月21日，就在乒乓外交后的一周。中国通过巴基斯坦再次向美国传话，中国政府重申，愿公开在北京接待美国总统的特使。关键时刻到了，到底该派谁去呢？
And so there was a very interesting moment when Nixon went through all the people he could send. And Henry Kissinger kept on saying, yes, very good idea, Mr. President, but I don't think he would be able to do the negotiations. And then finally, Nixon mentioned a name of an American diplomat and said, look, he knows China, he's been there, he's dealt with the Chinese before 1949, surely he should go. And Kissinger said, great idea, Mr. President, but unfortunately he is dead. And so Nixon knew all along that he was going to have to send Kissinger, but I think he was reluctant to make the decision.
Nixon wanted somebody who understood his thinking. And I practically lived with Nixon. I saw him 10 times a day. All the business concerned with foreign policy went through my office. So he decided that I was the person in the best position to do that.
Kissinger is a great strategist. He knows how to shape friendship, how to convert a hostile relationship to a cooperative relationship. He may not like an enemy, but he considers that for American security, it's more important to place national security interest above the ideological difference.
I was happy to be chosen. It was an exciting opportunity. It isn't often in your life that you can do something that's new, that nobody had done for 25 years on the American side.
Mr. Kissinger is a very strong man, and he felt that he could do this on his own, and he didn't need the Congress. He informed no one. See, my name is Wolf, but he was a lone wolf.
Before I entered government, as a professor of international relations, I had concluded that an international system without China leaves out a large percentage of humanity and didn't make any sense.
尼克松也好，基辛格也好，就是力图呢，就把一个两极世界转变成一个多极均衡的世界。
But the ideal world order is one in which all the major countries are satisfied enough so that they will settle their disagreements by peaceful means. And in general, because the world is so complicated, and the population is growing so much around the world, one country alone cannot dictate what a world order should be.
If you're going to change a major policy, like turning a relationship from hostility and isolation toward friendship or engagement at least, this is a very delicate thing, and you can't afford to fail.